Alright, this is lesson 15, simplifying radicals for algebra 1. Today our goal is we're going to simplify numerical radical expressions and some algebraic ones too. It's a little combination, okay? So, radicals, we call them the square root sign, but we've called them the square root sign. Raise your hand if you've seen this sign before. Square root, okay? We actually call that a radical sign in math, and we call it a square root. Okay, we call it a square root. Thank you. Call it a square root because right here there's a number called the index, okay? And when there's no number there, we assume it's a 1 or a 2, okay? We assume it's a 2, okay? So, meaning what times itself twice is going to be equal to that. It could be a different number. It could be 3, 4. It's never 1 though, because that's just silly. So 5. It could be anything, but it could be 10, 100, whatever it is, okay? And it's saying what times itself 2 times is equal to the number on the inside. This number on the inside is called the radicand. Radicand, okay? That's what that's called. You can write this down as I write it down. Okay, so for example, let's say we had this radical 4 or square root of 4. We know that this number is 2. We just know because it's like an imaginary 2. Okay, so we're asking ourselves what times itself is equal to 4. Okay, what is it? What times itself is going to be equal to 4? 2, right? Okay. Because we know that 4 is like saying 2 times 2, and so the answer is going to be just 2. Okay. Here's another way I look at this, okay? I tell this story every time I teach this, okay? Let's pretend the radical sign was a jail, okay? And on the inside are numbers, okay? Let's say the number on the inside was 16, okay? So, the jail has a number on the outside. Numbers could break out of the jail as long as they group up in the same number as what's in the index. This one we know it's 2, which means we need to have 2 of the same number in order to break out. So we think there's a number 16 on the inside, but if you look more closely at this jail, 16 is actually 2 numbers that are the same, 4 times 4. Okay? So in order to break out of the jail, they need 2 of the same numbers to break out. So these two 4s are like, let's break out of here. And so they're connected together with a multiply sign. They hold hands. They run out, and they both try to make it out, and they're like, yeah, we're going to make it. But the guard always kills all of them but one. The only one that made it out was the 4. There's nothing else left inside the jail, so the jail disappears. The answer is 4. Okay? Does that make sense? Here's another story. Ready? Let's say there's another jail. Same kind of jail, except the number on the inside is 32. From the outside, it looks like that. The index here is what, everyone? What's the index? 2. Good. If you look more closely at this jail, you know that this one is 16 times 2. Right? Are these 2 numbers the same yet? No. If you look even closely, there's actually 3 numbers on the inside of the jail. 4 times 4 times 2. So, we know by the index they need to get in pairs to break out of here. So these 2 4s try to break out again. Does this 2 have a partner to break out? No, he's a loner. Haha, he's stuck in jail. Okay? But these other 4s try to make it out. However, the guard always kills all of them but one because the guard is good. Only one 4 makes it out. The jail still exists with a 2 inside. That's your answer, 4 rad 2. Does that make sense? Okay? I always tell this story, okay? It helps students remember it. And you'll visit this in Algebra 2 again, so it's really good you get this down because this is really an important topic in the long run. Okay, so let's look at the steps. You have those written down. If you're on the video, please pause it right now. Here we go, number 1, 36, square root of 36. So, looking up here, numbers 1 and 2. The jail has a 2 on here, right? We could assume it's a 2. I'll leave that up there so you remember. We have to ask ourselves, what times what is equal to 36? What 2 numbers equal to 36? 6 times 6, right? Don't you also think that negative 6 times negative 6 also equal to 36? Would you agree with me? Yeah. So, in this jail, 2 6s try to break out, only 1 makes it. So the answer is 6. And these 2 negative 6s try to break out, only 1 makes it, so the other answer is negative 6. 2 answers for number 1. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, number 2, 80. Square root of 80. Uh-oh. What times what is equal to 80? Well, I know that 80 is equal to, 4 times 20, right? And I know that 4 is equal to 2 times 2. These are both prime, so I'm going to circle those. And that 20 is equal to 2 times 10. So I'm going to circle the 2, and the 10 is 2 times 5. And these are all prime. So I'm factoring everything out, and I'm saying, oh, 80 is equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. So 80 is really equal to 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Okay. What's the index of my jail, everyone, or the radicand? Or what's the index of the radical sign? 2, good. Okay, so they have to pair up in groups of 2, right? So these 2's pair up, and these 2's pair up. What happens to the 5? Does he have a friend to get out with? No, he's stuck in there alone. These pairs, one of them makes it out, the other one doesn't. Same as this one. These 2 and these 2 try to make it out, but they don't. So we only get a couple 2's that make it out. 2 times 2 is equal to 4. And then we have rad 5 on the inside. So we're all done. Does that make sense? Yes or no? Okay. So I'd like you to do is turn to your neighbor. 1 cell 2 is about number 1. 2 cell 1 is about number 2. Turn to people around you. Ready, set, talk. Number 3, you got rad 32. It's just like saying you're trying to look for pairs of the same number. So I know that rad 32 is just like saying 16 times 2, right? And that 16 is just like 4 times 4, right? Times 2. Would you all agree? Yes or no? Okay, so 4 times 4 times 2. We know that we use the pairing method, and it's going to be 4 rad 2. Okay, that's it. So if you got it right, good job. If you didn't get it right, please do it correctly right now. You're not drawing right now. We're working, right? Yeah. Good. Number 4, let me help you out. Let's get you started. On number 4, what you need to do is you take the original number, you have to factor it, okay? It's kind of hard. What number goes into 128 that you know for sure? 2, right? Because it's even. So 2 times what? 64. And 64 is a perfect square of something times itself, right? So think about that. Go. Here we go. On number 4, we know that 64 is 8 times 8, right? And we're just looking for pairs of numbers, so that's fine. We could just stop right there. So we know that 128 is 2 times 8 times 8. Would you all agree? Yes or no? Yeah. Okay, so 8 and 8 we can pair up together because we know that the index is 2, so we could pair them up. So we know one of them is going to make it out, the other one doesn't. So we have 8 rad 2. Some of you put something different, okay? Or you put 4 rad 2 again. I'm not sure how that happened, all right? Some of you made that mistake. Okay, number 5. Number 5, okay, we have this one now. Number 5 is a little different, right? We have letters, right? So let's start this one up together. So this one's similar to number 3. Isn't 32 the same thing as 4 times 4 times 2? Would you all agree? Yes or no? And then isn't x squared the same as x times x? Yes or no? Yeah, so let's just write that down. Pair these up, and the index is 2, so they have to be in pairs. So pair them up and then do the prison story, right? A couple of them try to break out, only one makes it. Go. Okay, looking up here, what is the index of this prison? What's the index? What is it, everyone? Which means they have to pair up, right? They have to get in groups of 2 to break out. So, can these 2 4s pair up together to break out? Yes or no? Yes. So these 2 4s try to make it out. How many of them make it out? Only 1. So we only get 1. What happens to the other one? He doesn't make it, okay? What about this 2? Does this 2 have a partner to make it out? No. So too bad, so sad. He stays inside, right? What about these 2 x's? Can they pair up and break out? Yeah. One of them makes it out. So you could bring out an x. The other x doesn't, okay? Okay, so on the outside, what should we have? We should have 4x square root of 2. Okay, some of you forgot to take out the x. I saw like 3 or 4 of you that did that. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, please fix it. This is the time to make mistakes. This is in my class, okay? so that you learn how to do it. Okay, next one, last one. Let's do this one. Let's start this one up together. Number 6. Okay, what is the index of this prison? 4, which means you have to get in groups of what to break out? 4. So we can't just have 2 of the same number. We need to have 4 of the same number. Okay, so let's factor this out. 64 is like saying, let's just do a factor tree. It's like saying 8 times 8. And I know this 8 is like saying 4 times 2, and this 2 is prime, so I'm going to circle it. And this 4 is just like saying 2 times 2, right? And the same on this one, right? We have another 8, so it's going to still be 2 times 4. 2 is prime, and then 4 is 2 times 2. Do y'all agree? So 64 is really like saying 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, right? Y'all agree with me? And then x to the 6th is just like saying x times x times x times x times x times x. Okay? So, and then we have a 3 on the outside and the 4th root of all of these numbers, right? How big of a group do they have to be to break out of this one? 4, right? So, do we have 4 2's that could group up together? Yeah. So we have these 4. Okay. What about these other 2 2's? Can they make it out or no? No, they're kind of like, oh man, we don't have enough partners. They can't break it out. So the guard only lets out 1. He's like, I'll only let 1 escape. Okay, but the others I won't. So check it out. This first group of 2's, look what happens to them. All of them try to make it out. They're all holding hands, like skipping down the hall. We're going to make it! Okay, and then the only one that makes it is one of the 2's, right? So it's going to be 2 times 3. What about, and then the X's are like, wait, there's 6 of us. How many do we need to break out of here? 4. So 4 of the X's try to break out. They're all holding hands. They're all singing, all my exes live in Texas. Get it? Okay, so guard's really good though. He only allows one of them to make it out. The others don't make it. Okay? So we got an X outside now. So what about these last 2 X's? Can they break out? Yes or no? No. So now we could simplify. So up here on the side we got 2 times 3 is 6 X times the 4th power of what was left on the inside now? What's 2 times 2? 4. And what's X times X? X squared. That's it. We're done. Does that make sense, everyone? Can you write this last problem down on your notes, please? Because this one's really important, okay? It's a harder one. And then once you're done, turn off your Doceri app. That'll conclude this lesson, all right?